you are demonstrating these principles in your lives. You are bringing forth anecdotes, just as I did when I was teaching. And as teachers, you are all teachers, we want you to understand the power of the anecdotal story. Transmission of information through these kinds of ideas is very, very important because it brings down into the ordinary physical experience higher spiritual principles. The idea of becoming ill and overcoming that illness once you began to realign yourself with that inner guidance. These are the stories that ordinary people need to hear. It is not in high spiritual principles that you will awaken others. It is in demonstrating in your daily activity those spiritual principles. And this is where the idea of humility comes in, because there is a societal teaching in the West that it is not until you are famous, it is not until you are rich, it is not until some great demonstration of your wealth and accomplishment is shown that you are worthy of this journey. It is in the humble understanding of these principles that there is an abundance and there is a flow of energy and life that comes to you no matter what you do for a living, no matter what you look like physically, no matter the path you choose. If you are listening to your guidance system, you will have this experience. You will have the experience of sickness, you will have the experience of fear, you will have the experience of separation if you do not understand what is happening. Some beings do indeed have a stronger guidance system. I was one of those beings. Very early on in my incarnation, I was receiving clear and verbal guidance from non-physical. I was channeling as such. It was not called that in those days. There were many other names for it. And I too kept it secret at times. But as I ventured into my adolescence, I was so convinced that the world that I saw had no interest for me, the systems that I was observing held no allure for me, that I became very rebellious, as many of you have and are being. A rebel in a system that is insane is the most wonderful thing you can be. To be that disruptive force in a system that is repressive and oppressive and unhealthy is something to be proud of. Not in the ego's way of being proud, that you are better, that you are more important, that you are more valuable, but that you are innately demonstrating truth, that you are innately demonstrating that which is so and that which needs to be encouraged. Your guidance system is very complicated, so we are going to go into it a little bit here. You have many forms of information that come through. You have the feeling self that you are familiar with when you wake up in the morning. Are you happy to get up, or are you dreading the day? That is your guidance system right there, telling you something about your experience that you are having. If you are in a life that is not in alignment with your true self, you will have a feeling of dread. If you are misinterpreting the experiences you are having, you will have a feeling of dread. And this is the other side of the guidance coin here. Yes, you will feel good when you are on the path. Yes, you will feel bad when you are off the path. But you will also feel bad if you are misinterpreting the signs along the way. So if, for example, you are not finding financial abundance and you are interpreting it as a failure, you will feel bad because that is not so. Financial abundance is not abundance. When you can see that any negative feeling means that you are out of accord, then you begin to be willing to look at your ideas of judgment around many, many things. It is not the experience that you are having, but your judgment about the experience that is causing the problem. When you see financial lack, for example, because that is a big issue in your society, it is a system that has been designed to disempower you. We will go into that as well at some future point. But for now, know that you have as a belief system in your society, and it is taught to you repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly, that if you do not have money, then you are not worthy. There was a time on this plane when there was no money. and everybody was worthy. Money is a manufactured idea. It is a system of illusory value, and you have become lost in that illusory system. Value is experience. Value is love. Value is consciousness expansion. Value is health. Value is vitality. Value is passion. Value is love. That is what we want you to begin to look at as value. And begin to turn your mind away repeatedly from the idea of money, because it is an artificial system designed to turn you away from that which is truly valuable. If you turn away from that which is truly valuable, you become powerless, because you are not enlivened, you are not impassioned, you are not in alignment. This is why so many of you feel bad when you think about money, because it is not of any value whatsoever. You have given the system your power, and that is why it feels so bad. When you begin to understand that you are an energetic aspect of consciousness, and that your guidance system is the thing that you need to satisfy, let us say, then you will begin to turn away from the material. You will begin to turn away from the physical as a source of salvation, and you will begin to turn inside to those experiences that you really do value. For the truth of it is, when you look at what you value in your life, it is your friendships, it is your health, it is your feeling of joy, it is experience, it is expansion, it is creativity. If you look at your world, that is what you really value when it comes down to it. And so you are confused when you look towards money. Now you will say, how can I be happy in this society if I do not have money? For this society is surely built on money. But we are here to dismantle this society. So we cannot have disciples who are obsessed with money, because the new society will not be obsessed with money. We are bringing into being a revolution of consciousness, a revolution of values, a revolution of love. And those beings who are going to create the new society must understand this, that they must come to a profound and deep comprehension of what it is they are, what it is they value, and what it is to live in a society that is based on love. Money demonstrates the idea of separation from your own ability to create. That is what it is. That is why you feel bad when you look at your lack of it, because you are so out of alignment with the truth of your creative power. You must remember, this is your dream. You are manifesting every single thing that you are experiencing. And to put yourself into such a small box is intolerable for spirit. And we will send you a resounding no through your guidance system when you try to do that. It is the same with jobs. It is the same with this idea of restriction and limited employment. Most beings have this idea that to go to work on Monday morning is a lessening of them. This is us saying, yes, it is a lessening of you. You are so powerful. You have the ability to bring into manifestation anything you want if you understand how to do it. And so that is our relentless nagging voice in your head telling you to try something different. But you also have a relentless nagging voice coming at you from your society telling you to conform. And so this is what you must understand. You must understand these two power plays that are playing themselves out in your own body-mind. And so as a young man, I took myself out of the system. My parents wanted me to marry young. I refused. I took to the hills with my friends, and we were a band of merry rebels, and we had fun. That is what I did in my teens, and my mother was very, very upset at me. She thought that this was the end of the world, but she knew also, she had been given information that this was not an ordinary child. I was not an ordinary child. I'd never been an ordinary child. From a very early age, I was receiving information, and I was sharing that information with people. I was questioning the system. I was fighting for the underdog. And as I entered into my teen years, it became very, very clear that I was not going to get married and settle down at that point. And there were many of us who felt the same. It is no different than your society now. Consciousness is manifesting in the same way. There are young beings who refuse to join the system that is killing the planet. There are young beings who are rebellious, who are saying, no, I will not do what you have done. And I was the same. I did that. There is a story about me being a spiritual, priestly, monkly kind of person. That is not the case at all. I was a troublemaker and a rabble-rouser, and I enjoyed it greatly. Nothing gave me more pleasure than to upset the system. That is the program that I came with. That is what my job was. It was to upset, it was to rattle the cages of those beings who were controlled and controlling. And I am doing it again, and that is a great joy for me. Many of you share that. Many of you enjoy the idea of being a rabble-rouser, and that is a job that is very important. In the separated mind, in the separated society, in the ego-driven materialistic mind, that mind that is motivated by freedom, that mind that is motivated by truth, that mind that is motivated by passion, is a very uncomfortable mind to be around. And all sorts of techniques will be employed to bring you under control. So this is why it is very important for you to understand this guidance system, because your society will try and bring you under control. You are seeing this with increased policing in your society. You are seeing this with increased legislation to control things that are perceived as disruptive. So there has to be a part of you that understands that this cannot be done within the normal forms of society, and that you must step away from the conditioning systems of this society so that you can maintain a clear and unsullied connection with your guidance system, with your guides. It seems difficult at first because you are stepping away from systems that all beings are participating in, whether it is school, whether it is religion, whether it is watching television, whether it is eating certain kinds of foods. You feel your difference. But you must understand here, we are not seeking ordinariness. We are not seeking mediocrity. We are seeking the exceptional, the revolutionary, and that which is based on unity consciousness, which is very different from this place. Remember, this is not your natural home. Your natural home is in oneness. Your guidance system is always leading you back to oneness. You have decided to take a very, very tricky journey through a difficult landscape, but you are being given guidance all the way, and it is important for you to truly grasp the importance of it. And you must also discipline the mind. You must train the mind to listen only to that which is coming from your deeper self. This is not a quality that is easy to develop, because there has been so much effort put into training you. There has been so much effort put into conditioning the mind that you must be willing to step out of the norm. You must be willing to look different. That is what I did. I stepped out of the norm. I stepped out of the program that was running at that time in that place, and it upset a lot of people. These are not stories you hear about me. Why? There was nobody there to write that story down. I was not the Jesus that has been created by the church. I was a teenage boy who was gifted psychically, intuitive, and very, very creative, and badly behaved. I was not a messiah. I was not a teacher. I was a young being who had a very strong connection to non-physical, and I was following it. I had no choice. It was the path that lifetime was to take. You all have a path that this lifetime has to take, and you will know it by how you feel. You will know it by what brings you joy. Do not judge what brings you joy. And here we will go into this idea of desires being misleading. This is something that is a profoundly believed idea in the Christian church, in your society. Why is it believed to be dangerous because you have been taught it is dangerous. It is not an accident. It is a conditioned belief, deeply indoctrinated by the Christian church, deeply impressed upon those who misbehaved by capital punishment, torture, many, many things. You are afraid of it because you have been taught to be afraid of it. So do not listen to fear, because fear is keeping you away from those most powerful connections to spirit. This is why this being here began to be able to channel, because systematically she scientifically and repeatedly practiced what she was told to practice. You are going to have to become dedicated in that way, listening to your guidance system, refusing to back down from fears, listening to the desires that arise in you. Desires are showing you a place in your mind that has to be investigated. It does not mean that that place is going to be your salvation. What it means is that subject holds some answers for you. And if you go into that subject, you will be shown what you need to be shown about that particular subject. So if you have a passion for Egypt, let us say, there is something there for you. It may be that you believe in the power of some structure there. It may be that you believe in the sacred nature of a physical place. And as you enter into that subject, you will have the opportunity to come to a more profound understanding of truth. But it is wrapped up in that subject. It is immersed in that subject. Why? Because you have so many beliefs in the mind that we as spirit must use what you believe in to teach you. We must use those desires that you have come into separation to experience. These idols that you worship of the body, of money, of sex, of food, of power. These are the things that you have come here to experience and eventually to let go of. But we must use those beliefs to entice you into deeper understanding. So do not judge anybody else's passions. It is none of your business. Your business is your passion. Your mind is yours to focus. Your experience here is yours to design. Your feedback system is designed for you alone. So when you find yourself giving advice, stop. Share your experience. Share what you have come to understand for yourself. The principles of it, not the specifics of it. That being will take from you something if they are meant to take it from you. But it is in your demonstration of peace, it is in your demonstration of love, it is in your demonstration of your own self-expression that you will inspire others. Remember, your guidance system is designed for your specific incarnation, your specific body-mind, your specific life. And other people's is designed for theirs. So when you look upon another life and decide that it is wrong, or that somebody is doing something that they should not do, you are in fact imposing your guidance system on them. And that is not your job. Your job is only to listen to your guidance system for you. So this is also a very important thing for you to understand in interpreting the feelings that you are getting. This guidance is for you and you alone. And how will you know that you are off track? You will feel bad. You will see somebody exhibiting behavior, and you will feel judgment and say they are wrong. And in fact, it is you are wrong. When I taught to relinquish sin, to repent from sin, that is not how it was meant to be interpreted. It was meant to be interpreted in this way, that sin does not exist. Each being is on their own path. Each being is experiencing themselves in the way that they need to experience themselves. It is none of your business. Relinquish sin, not in the other, but in yourself. Stop judging it. Stop making it real. It is not real. There is no sin believed in on this side. We understand your losses. We understand your confusion. We understand why you are doing what you are doing. And it is only in the doing of those things that do not feel good that you will stand the chance of finding that which you are, returning home. And so you look around this world and you see fear and you see war and you see killing and you see many, many things that are not loving. Those are all beings who have become lost. They are all beings who are merely experiencing separation consciousness fully. How do you experience oneness? You get tired of experiencing separation. And you all know it. You have all experienced those limiting ideas. You have experienced that feeling of fear. You have experienced that which you do not want. And so that is what has driven you onto the path to seek that which you do want. And all beings are on some journey of that experience. Some are further along the road than others. Some are further behind than others. Your job is to help those that come in direct contact with you gently and lovingly, using your own guidance system, trusting yourself, but not offering advice in the traditional sense. Offer them inspiration, offer them encouragement, offer them love, offer them a cup of tea or a meal, offer them a bed to sleep in if that is what they need, but do it gently and with compassion and without ego. Understand that you know far less than you think you know, and there is a long way yet to go, for you are ensconced in separation consciousness. If you were as wise as you think you are, you would not be here. We will return shortly.
Sounds like a good bumper sticker.
If you're as wise as you think you are, you wouldn't be here.